Hello, operator. Can you please connect me with OTR Halloween Holidays? I don't want to miss this episode of the Ghoulie Show.
Again the immortal tale, The Ghost's Touch.
Is it true that when you are very close to death, the dead are really able to reach out to protect you? I don't know, but Ralph Zant and I had been married only a few months when he died. We had been so completely and deeply in love that the memory of the happiness we had found is a thing which will always dominate my life. Well, John Stevens, one of Ralph's best friends, had invited me to spend some time with him on the coast where he had a large house. It was in the town where I had first met Ralph. Mrs. Stewart, my housekeeper and companion, went with me, and Paul Weston, another of Ralph's closest friends, was also there. But he lived in his own house nearby. I had been enjoying my stay there immensely. John had not been with us much, but Mrs. Stewart and I enjoyed the park and the beach. John had been particularly careful about my food, a fact which greatly pleased me. One morning, Mrs. Stewart and I had just returned from the beach. We were standing in the great front hall of the house when she brought up something I know had been on both our minds ever since we'd arrived.
My, it's quiet in this big old house.
Hasn't it been quiet, Mrs. Stewart? You know, I can remember when this was one of the liveliest houses in St. Anne's. And John was one of the jolliest men alive.
Sort of gives me the willies, Mrs. Zant. Something kind of brooding here. No one ever around this part of the house. The servants are all way off in the back there.
Does that seem strange to you? You know, I thought that maybe I was just disappointed, comparing it with the way I remembered it when Ralph and I were here together.
Oh, no, ma'am. There's something funny here. You mark my words. I didn't want to say nothing, hoping not to worry you. But Mr. John has acted so strange, too.
He's a lot more thoughtful than he ever was before.
And then there's that funny smell.
Yes, I've smelled that, too. But I thought it was just my imagination.
And the strange way Mr. John looks at you after breakfast, when he gets up so solemn-like and goes up into that room at the head of the stairs. He never comes out again till dinner. So what's in that room anyway, Mrs. Zant?
Well, I don't know. It's a study of some sort, I guess, where John's doing some work.
You know, yesterday I got hunting for that smell, and I traced it right to that door. I sniffed all around there and tried to decide what it was. I heard something in there, too.
What?
Mr. John was in there. I could hear him muttering to himself. No words, mind you, just muttering. And every once in a while, it sounded as though he was stirring something in the glass. Finally, guess what he said?
Oh, Mrs. Stewart, I think you've been imagining things. We're letting ourselves get nervous over something that's probably nothing at all.
Well, he said, at last. Now I'm certain this'll work. Just then he came toward the door, so I ran back to my room and shut the door.
Well, I don't think he'd mind if we went and paid him a visit. Then we can see what he's doing. I wonder if he's up there now.
Oh, my goodness, that startled me.
Just the front door.
Why, it's Mr. Paul. I can see him through the glass in the door. I'll just let him in. It takes these servants here so long to get from way back where they are.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Stewart. Is Mrs. Zant here?
Hello, Paul. Come on in.
Oh, why, Dorothy. What are you standing there like that for? You look worried, and as though you're just about to do something about it.
Well, Paul, as a matter of fact, we were just going up to pay John a visit in his study. There at the head of the stairs.
Study? Why, Dorothy, didn't he tell you what that is?
No.
That's a laboratory, and he's forbidden everyone to come in there, practically on pain of death.
Well, he hasn't forbidden me, and I'm going to find out what goes on in there. I think that was a little mean of him.
Oh, Mrs. Sand, do you think you'd better?
Certainly I do. And I'm going up now.
Well, I might as well get hung for a sheep as a lamb. I'll come along, too. Come on, Mrs. Stewart.
Well, you aren't frightened, are you, Mrs. Stewart?
There's no telling what we may find.
Well, it can't be too awful. John's no demon, anyway.
No answer. Maybe he's gone out. I'm going to look and see.
Be careful, Mrs. Sand.
Get out. I told you. Oh, Dorothy, come in. I didn't realize it was you.
Well, we're all here, John. We came up to pay you a little visit.
Fine. Come on in, but shut the door. Hello, Paul. When did you arrive?
Just came in. Dorothy said she wanted to come up here. I told her we'd all been forbidden, but she insisted, so my curiosity got the better of me, too.
Well, that's fine. I'm really glad you did. This is a good day for me.
This is really magnificent.
Yes, Dorothy. What do you think of my private domain?
Well, it's big enough, I'll say that for it. It's a little frightening.
Yeah, don't smell so good to me either.
Mrs. Stewart doesn't understand experiments the way we do, does she, Dorothy?
No, I don't, Mr. John. And after seeing Mrs. Zant fooling with them dangerous chemicals, I don't know as I want to either.
Oh.
What's that, Dorothy? You?
Why, yes, Paul, I've been doing some experiments. Just for fun, mostly, but it does take up my time since I'm alone so much. That's why I think it was so unfair of John not to tell me he had such a wonderful laboratory here.
Well, Dorothy, I've been saving that for later, until this experiment is well underway. I've been hoping we might work together very soon.
John, what are those tables over there? They look like...
They're dissecting tables? Yes, that's what they are.
Well, of course, if you're going in for anatomy on the side, I'm afraid you'll leave me way behind.
Why, no, my dear, quite the contrary. I had hoped you'd follow right along. I'm sure you will with this new experiment.
Well, you've got to tell us now what this experiment is. You've certainly got our curiosity aroused.
Now, I'll tell you, of course. I have finally developed a new formula. This is the chemical part, which will eventually make a subject absolutely impervious to pain. That is, I will be able to operate without the use of anesthetics. Perform any sort of operation I wish.
How does it work?
I feed small doses of a certain formula, a very dangerous one, by the way, to the patient in his food. Dangerous because while he's taking them, the patient occasionally falls into semi-conscious states in which he is very close to death. Then, when a certain stage is reached, there is one more dose which the patient must drink straight, without any other food. Then the subject becomes unconscious of any pain whatever.
But what's the purpose of that? Surely the development of anesthetics.
But this, you see, leaves the scientists free to operate on conscious living animals without the stopping of some functions brought on by anesthetics. And this never wears off.
Have you ever tried it?
Several times, my dear, and with success. I am just waiting now to try my greatest experiment of the lot. To use my formula on the most complicated of living organisms, the human.
But, John, you're not going to go on with this, are you?
Well, certainly. Why should I stop now? Especially when I'm so near the final experiment.
Do you mind, John, if Mrs. Stewart and I go down to the beach? I'm afraid the air in here has made me a little dizzy.
That's a good idea, Dorothy. We'll come right along to walk with you.
By all means, go ahead. Do get plenty of fresh air, my dear. I hope you'll see more of the laboratory later. Much more.
I wondered then what it was in John's look that startled me. Or was it something in his voice? A chill of apprehension made me turn and hurry ahead of Mrs. Stewart out into the cool seashore air. I was sure that John was telling me something, saying something to me alone. And I was afraid even then to let myself believe what I thought it was. Mrs. Stewart and I walked through the little park that lay between the house and the beach. It was a place of many wonderful memories to me, the place where Ralph had first kissed me. We passed the tree where Ralph and I had stood that day, and Mrs. Stewart, bless her, knew what I felt as we came to the spot. She looked at me.
These memories aren't going to spoil your visit now, are they, Mrs. Zant? You know, there's a lot of things a person has to live with all her life.
Oh, no, Mrs. Stewart. My memories of him wouldn't spoil anything. They're too beautiful.
Well, I just thought from the way you were looking over at that tree, the one...
You know, I'm going over and touch that tree. Just for luck. I feel as though I need some luck right now.
Mrs. Sand. Mrs. Sand. Mrs. Sand, what's wrong? What are you looking like that for? As though you'd seen a ghost.
Oh, Mrs. Stewart, Where are you?
Mrs. Sand, can't you see me here? Well, you're looking at me as though you've gone blind. Mrs. Sand. Mrs. Sand. Mrs. Sand.
No, I'm not blind. I can see everything. The tree, the grass, the whole park. But you've gone. I can't hear you anymore. I can't see you. Mrs. Stewart! Mrs. Stewart!
You remembered, didn't you, Dorothy? You're not afraid.
Oh, Ralph. You're here. But I can't see you. It seems as though I can feel your hand on mine. But I can't see you.
I'm right here beside you, darling. Always beside you.
You've been gone so long, Ralph.
I'm always beside you.
But I haven't seen you. I haven't been with you before.
Dorothy. Dorothy, darling. It can't be for long this time either. They're coming soon. They're on their way now.
Who, my dearest?
All of them. Don't forget the others. They'll be here. Don't forget the others.
Why can't I see you, Ralph, when I want to so much? I can still feel you. It seems as though you have your arm around me. Oh, Ralph. Oh, Ralph.
I'm here, though. Right here with you, my darling.
Why didn't you let me know before that we were so near to each other?
Because you had to come a long way to me first. And now it's time for you to know it certainly. You already know why.
Are you here to protect me? You are. You are, I know it. But from what, Ralph? From what?
Dorothy! Dorothy!
Mrs. Sand. Oh, thank heavens, Mrs. Sand.
You are, aren't you, Ralph? You will protect me. I'll come back to see you here, Ralph. I'll come back. Ralph! Where are you? Why don't you answer? Oh, Ralph, where are you?
Dorothy, it's all right. Dorothy, can't you hear me? Can't you see me?
Oh, Paul. Paul, it's you.
Yes, Dorothy. Do you feel all right? Mrs. Stewart.
Oh, Mrs. Sand. I ran and found Mr. Paul as fast as I could. You stood there looking straight at me and you wouldn't answer me. You didn't even see me when I put my hand up in front of your face. Oh, you gave me an awful fright.
Mrs. Stewart came running for us. She said you seemed to have gone into a trance.
I came as soon as I could. She's all right now, isn't she?
Yes, now she is. But it certainly is strange.
Not strange at all. In fact, rather to be expected.
Why, Mr. John, Mrs. Zant hasn't ever had anything like that before. You didn't even see how she was. Mr. Paul here can tell you.
Why expected, John?
Oh, perhaps the air in the laboratory upset her. Perhaps something she ate. Who knows? The shock of Ralph's passing away hasn't really left her yet, has it, my dear?
I think we're imagining things.
I'm afraid that perhaps the food my cook has been serving has been a bit rich these past few days. I spoke to her about it this morning.
You all right now, Mrs. Zant?
Oh, quite all right, thank you. I think we'd better go down to the beach.
I'll come along with you, Dorothy.
If you'll excuse me, I must get back to the laboratory. My dog has been acting rather strangely in the last few minutes. Something very interesting may develop. Will you excuse me?
Certainly, John. We'll be back shortly.
Don't hurry. Dinner won't be ready for a while, and that's all you need to be back for. I'll see you later.
Dorothy, I don't like this at all.
Are you afraid of something, Paul?
Mr. Paul needs this funny spell you just had, and I agree with him.
It was very strange, but it was very wonderful.
Tell me, Dorothy, you know something about chemistry. Would it be possible for John actually to do what he says he has done?
Well, there are a great many strange things that can be done with chemistry, Paul. And I believe, yes, that a mind bent on such an insane purpose could probably develop such a combination.
But wouldn't it be very dangerous?
You're thinking of that spell I just had in connection with it, aren't you?
Well, he did say some strange things there in the laboratory.
And you may be very right, too, Paul, in suspecting him. I may already have been...
Dorothy.
Oh, Mrs. Sand, no. Please, let's go home today.
But, Dorothy, if you think...
No, Paul. Something happened when I was standing under that tree. I talked to Ralph.
But, Dorothy...
And I promised to go back to talk to him again tomorrow. You see, I have to stay here now, because I must talk to him again.
It isn't possible.
I may be in great danger, Paul. Even this minute, here with you on this sunny beach, I may be very near to death. But I want to see whether what I believe is true. Because perhaps I am so close to death that the spirit of the man who loves me can reach across the narrow space that divides us and protect me. If that is so, I will have discovered more than 1,000 insane experiments can prove. You see, I have to stay now.
But, Dorothy, hasn't he protected you already? Hasn't he warned you?
No, Paul. He's waiting for something. Something else. I think I know what.
Didn't he say?
No, but there will be more. He told me to come back. He wouldn't have done that if there weren't more, would he?
Shall I have the main dish brought in? Are you both ready? I think you'll find the dinner very good tonight. Since I spoke to the cook this morning, she... Oh, here it is now.
Are you sure you feel well enough to eat, Dorothy?
Yes, thank you, Paul. I feel very well now.
The afternoon must... Oh, Rogers, I believe you've mixed the plates. That one is for Mrs. Zant.
That's all right, John. I don't believe I'll have much dinner anyway. I'm not very hungry. Give Dorothy mine.
But I insist. Dorothy's is really quite special.
Listen. Oh, listen.
Is something wrong, my dear?
No, it was nothing.
But, John, does it really matter that much?
Perhaps John has had something special prepared for me, Paul. That's very nice of him, and it will be quite all right.
Thank you, Dorothy. We scientists seem to understand each other, don't we?
Dorothy.
It's all right, Paul.
This dinner and going to bed early tonight will fix Dorothy up splendidly, Paul. Wait and see.
Suddenly I had felt Ralph close to me again. It gave me a new confidence, a knowledge that whatever happened now, I was protected. I tasted nothing strange about the food, but I hadn't noticed anything in the meals before either. Ralph was waiting, I was sure now, until John became bold enough to spell his own destruction. The next afternoon, nothing could have kept me in the house. John had been in the laboratory all morning. And when I looked in, I noticed with a shudder that one of the operating tables was covered with clean white sheets. I went quickly out to the tree where I had been with Ralph the day before. It seemed a long time before I again felt that strange, numb feeling, as though my life had almost left my body. But...
Dorothy, my darling, you are here, under our tree.
How could I help coming, Ralph, when you promised that we'd be together again today?
I didn't promise, my dear. I couldn't promise that much. But remember, my darling, I am always near you.
Ralph! Ralph, where are you? You aren't here anymore. What was that? I'm frightened, Ralph. Look. The grass is all beginning to burn and turn brown. Our tree is withering. Ralph! What was that? That great black mass coming toward me.
Dorothy!
John, where did you come from? I can only see your face staring at me out of that awful darkness.
It's all right, isn't it, Dorothy? You're going to be all right. You said so last night. And you know know it's true, don't you?
What's true? I don't know anything now. Where's Ralph? Oh, John, why are you frightening me this way? Ralph! Ralph!
You're going to be all right now. Aren't you, Dorothy? All right now. You're all right now, aren't you, Dorothy?
Oh, it's one of those spells again, Mrs. Zant. I'm frightened.
Mrs. Stewart and I came out to walk with you, Dorothy. We found you here again, just standing here, not seeing anything.
I'm going to call Mr. Paul. I don't like this. It frightens me. Mr. Paul will know what to do.
Shall we go back to the house, Dorothy? You'll feel better in a minute.
No, John. Let's just wait here a minute. Mrs. Stewart will be back with Paul.
But everything is ready at the house. I have some work waiting.
But, John, that darkness all around you. I can't see anything but your face again.
You will follow me back to the house, won't you, Dorothy? That's it. Of course you will.
Yes, John. Of course. I'll come with you. Everything here is brown and burnt. Park has grown so withered. It's horrible here now.
Come on, Dorothy. We'll go slowly. Come along with me. One step. One step. That's it. Come along with me.
Look at those birds over there. They're such big black birds. And they're falling, dropping right into the sea. What's the matter with them, John? Why don't they come up again?
Don't be afraid of them, Dorothy. Just come with me. One step. One step.
And look, those awful things. Snakes. Snakes. Huge ones. And they're not moving. John, they're dead. Nothing here ever stays alive anymore. Oh, it's hard. It's hard. It's burning hot.
It doesn't matter now, Dorothy. Nothing will hurt anymore. One step. One step. Here's the door. The door to the house. Wait. Wait while I open it.
But John, it's open. It's open and it's all dark in there. So dark I can't even see your face anymore. John, where are you?
Right here, Dorothy. Come up the stairs. One step. One step.
But everything is so confused. I can't find the stairs. I can't find anything. It isn't real. Everything is mixed up. I've lost something. I've lost something I can't remember.
We're almost there, Dorothy. One step. One step.
I can't remember. It was... Ralph! Ralph! Ralph, where are you? I'm afraid. I'm alone here in the darkness. There's no one here. Even John has gone away now, and there isn't any light. Ralph! Oh, Ralph. Oh, Ralph, you are near me. I can feel you here now. I'm not alone.
It's near now. It's almost time, my darling. Here, let me hold your hand.
I can feel your hand on mine, Ralph, but I still can't see you. It's so dark in here.
Come on, Dorothy. The stairs are there. One step. One step.
Oh, Ralph, your hand is helping me along. Hold me tight.
In here, Dorothy. Right in here. This is where we'll work, isn't it?
It's the laboratory, Ralph. This horrible, evil-smelling laboratory. Ralph, I'm afraid. Why don't you speak to me?
Now we're all right, Dorothy. Now we'll work together, won't we?
I'm thirsty. I'm so terribly thirsty. That heat. The park is so hot. It's all burned up. I'm thirsty.
Here, drink this, Dorothy.
Oh.
This will cure your thirst. You'll be all right. Nothing will hurt anymore.
I'm not afraid now, Ralph. I'm thirsty. Why can't I have a drink? It'll be all right.
That's right, Dorothy. Drink this. Let me hold it up to your lips.
I'm so thirsty. I'm going to... Don't let go of me, Ralph!
What is it, Mr. His hands look there.
Lord, what's got him?
He's choking to death. Something's strangling him.
John. John. He's dead.
Oh!
He was just holding that glass to your lips, Dorothy, when we came in, and suddenly it shook out of his hand as though someone had grabbed hold of his wrist. A powerful hand.
It was like as if a ghost had reached out and knocked that glass out of his hand.
Someone did, Paul. Ralph.
But no one was here. It couldn't have been...
Oh, Mrs. Sam.
I was protected. I knew I would be. Ralph was able to reach across and save me, Paul. I know it.
From the time-worn pages of the past, we have brought you The Ghost's Touch. Bellkeeper, toll the bell.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at WatchWaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda.
It's not just an ordinary cane, my dear.
Alec.
It's a sword cane, see? Calhoun used it when he killed his wife, right where you're standing.
Alec, you killed Sanders.
Exactly.
And now you're going to kill me.
Yes.
No. Keep away from me.
Sorry.
Keep away.
My dear.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The House Where Death Lived. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story is A Ghostly Nightmare by one of radio's best-known mystery writers, Robert Newman. Its title, The House Where Death Lived. A large rambling house on top of a hill. A house whose windows are either shuttered or broken. A rusty iron fence surrounds it, and its grounds are waste and uncared for. A car grinds slowly up the hill, stops before the main gate, and two men get out. One of them is gray-haired but vigorous. The other wears a chauffeur's uniform. They push open the heavy gate, start up the gravel path.
Quite a joint.
You could hardly expect it to be a show place after being empty for more than 10 years.
It's open.
Yes. Well, I'm glad we didn't have to force it. All right, Sanders. You can go back to the car and wait for me. I should be out in about a half an hour or so.
You mean you're going in alone?
Why, yes. Somehow I don't think you're exactly suited by temperament for psychic research.
Okay, Doc. I'll be waiting for you back in the car.
Right. Now, let's see. I suppose the best place to start would be...
Good evening.
What? Oh, I'm awfully sorry. I hope I haven't made a mistake. This is the Calhoun house, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Oh, this is very embarrassing. I was down to see the trustees just this morning. They gave me permission to go through the place and told me that there was no one living here, that no one had lived here for many years.
As you can see, that's not quite true. Not that it matters. I lead a rather lonely life, and I'm very glad you came. I'd be more than happy to show you around.
Well, you're very kind. My name is Goff, Dr. Alexander Goff.
Dr. Goff.
For the past few years, I've been specializing in psychic research.
Oh, yes.
You've heard of me?
I'm sorry, no. But I do know that scientists, specialists in psychical research, have been interested in the house for many years. There have been several books written about it.
I read about it in the series of studies that Kinsey did. He said it was one of the most fertile fields for manifestations he'd ever come across. It has a long history of apparitions and hauntings.
That's very true. And now, would you like to look around?
I'd like that very much.
Very well. I imagine the best place to begin is with the cellar. This way.
The cellar. That's where Mrs. Calhoun was killed, wasn't it?
Yes. I keep the door locked now for that and for several other reasons.
May I?
No, wait, don't try to go down. Have you a match?
Why, yes. There aren't any stairs.
Exactly. That's how Mrs. Calhoun was killed. The stairs had become rotten, and Calhoun took them out, put in that ladder. Mrs. Calhoun didn't know it. She tried to go down, fell, and broke her neck.
But she wasn't just killed. She was murdered, wasn't she?
Well, that's hard to say. I don't think even Calhoun could tell you whether it was deliberate or not. For a long time, people didn't even suspect what had happened. They thought that she'd run away, disappeared. However, after she was killed, Calhoun buried her down there in the cellar. You see, over there, near that big flagstone.
Oh, I see. Well, after that, there was something about a gardener, wasn't there?
Yes, Burroughs. He had helped Calhoun take out the stairs. Considerably later, he was working in the cellar and found some bones, and he put two and two together
and went to the police.
No, he did a lot better than that, from his own point of view. Shall we go back into the parlor?
Oh, yes, of course.
I'll just shut this door again. Yeah. Burroughs began blackmailing Calhoun. Calhoun paid for a while, and then one day he called Burroughs in here, into the parlor. He was sitting over there at that desk. He had his cane with him. The cane that's on the desk there now. You can look at it if you like.
Well, thank you. I would like to look at it.
Twist the handle and pull on it.
A sword cane?
Yes. He killed Burroughs right here in this room. That stain on the carpet, there is his blood. This time he didn't even try to get away with it. He called in the police, and he was tried and sent to an institution.
Yes, but that's what I don't understand. If Calhoun had committed 2 murders, why wasn't he sent to jail or hanged?
Because no one knew whether he was sane or not. As a matter of fact, I don't think Calhoun knew himself. You see, when they asked him why he had killed his wife and Burroughs, he said he had to, that he'd been told to.
Told to? By whom?
Well, he wasn't sure, by voices. He said they told him that they lived here in this house before him, that they had killed, and that he would have to kill too.
Ah, excellent, excellent. Just what I've been looking for, what I've hoped for. A house with a tradition of hauntings, where each generation is affected by that tradition and adds to it. What's the matter?
They've come for me. They're weighing me down, dragging me back.
They? Who? Oh, you're ill. Here, let me help you.
No, it's no use. You can't pick me up. It's too much on my hands. On my head.
Where is he?
He was there, right there on the floor. I tried to pick him up and put him on the couch, but I couldn't lift him. Now he's gone.
Oh, now, look, Doc, if he fell down, if he was as weak as you said it... Hey, wait a minute. Hey, what did he look like?
Well, he was quite old, about 70, and very tall and thin. He had white hair and a white goatee.
Holy smokes.
What's the matter?
Well, I was waiting outside for you. The guy that lives just down the hill came by, and we kind of talked a little.
Yes?
I told him you were inside here, and you described Calhoun to me, the guy that used to live here. And the old gent you say you spoke to sounds just like him.
But it couldn't have been. Calhoun is still in an institution.
No, he's not. At least not exactly. That's how this guy happened to talk about it. You see, he just read in the paper that Calhoun had died yesterday.
Sanders.
Yeah?
That was Calhoun's ghost.
Oh, now look,
It was, I tell you. It has to be. This is what I've been looking for years. An apparition that manifests itself without a medium or any apparatus. It's exactly what I need for the last chapter of my book. And I'm going to stay here until he appears again. Calhoun! Calhoun! Where are you? Why don't you come back? I'm waiting for you. Oh, it's no use. 2 days now and not a sign of him. Maybe Sanders was right. Maybe I did imagine the whole thing. Either that. Wait a minute. He didn't die here. He died at the asylum. He'd lived here all his life, committed 2 murders here. Perhaps the aura, the forces here, were strong enough to evoke him once, but not to bring him back again. His wife and the gardener, they did die here. If I could establish contact, I might be able to evoke them. Or else if someone else died here, someone I knew and someone that knew me. Calhoun! Is that right? Is that what I have to do? What? Who's there?
Me, Doc. Sanders.
Oh, just a second.
Oh, what a night. It's blowing like all get out.
What do you want, Sanders?
Well, the missus thought she was getting a little worried about you. She thought you might be running low on food.
Oh, no, I still have plenty. I haven't been eating much.
Any luck?
No, he hasn't materialized again, but I'm sure he will. I know he will.
If someone else died here, someone you knew, and someone that knew you.
Yes.
What's the matter, Doc? Hey, why are you staring at me that way? Doc!
I'm sorry, Sanders. Sanders, I was just thinking that if you stayed here with me, it might help.
But I thought you said I was all wrong for this kind of stuff. You know I don't believe in ghosts, anything like that.
Well, I did say that, Sanders, but... Oh, this place is different. This is such a powerful, fertile field for psychic manifestations that I think if you did stay, we could cure your skepticism permanently.
Yeah? How?
Well, this is such a perfect night for an evocation. Listen.
I don't hear anything. Just a storm.
Listen hard. There it is again. It's down in the cellar.
Where's that?
It's back there.
Where?
Go ahead, run. You're quicker than I am, Sanders. Run, hurry.
Okay, but I still don't hear anything.
A man with an obsession in a haunted house. A man with a corpse on his hands as the clock strikes 12 for
Murder at midnight.
And now, to continue with our story. It's just a moment later, and Dr. Goff is still standing by the open cellar door. Lighting a candle, he peers down to where Sanders' body lies huddled on the flagstones below.
Sanders? Sanders? I think I better make sure. Sure. What's this? Ladder. Holes. Is this? Huh. Oh, now, let's see. He's dead, all right. Very dead. Neck broken in 2 places. I'm sorry, Sanders. Very sorry. But science is a hard mistress. I've been working on my book for 7 years. This is the first chance I've had to make detailed and objective observations on a specific set of phenomena. When Calhoun didn't materialize again, I'm sure you understand. The only problem now is the police. They're apt to be very uncompromising about something like this. If there were only some way I could... I know. The car. It's quite late and with the storm blowing, there's not likely to be anyone around. Yeah. Oh, come on, Sanders. You and I are going to take a little trip. Now, we're almost there, Sanders. Just a little farther. Here we are. Now, let's see. Well, you turned the car around before you came in, so it's headed downhill. That's splendid. Very considerate. Now, open the door and put you in. Oh, up. Just make sure you don't fall sideways. That you stay behind the wheel. Yeah, that's it. Oh, is there anything else? Anything I've forgotten? I don't think so. Well, just take the brake off. And shut the door. And wait. There's no telling how far she'll go, especially with the streets so bumpy. I only hope that she'll go far enough to pick up plenty of speed, so that when she does, she's swinging to the right. Yeah. And now I wait. Sanders? Sanders! Where are you? It's been 4 or 5 days now. Why haven't you come back? Haven't you wanted to? Or haven't you been able to find a way? This is where you died, remember? Down here in the cellar. Are you down there? Sanders? Are you down there? No. Not down there. Not anywhere. What's that? Yes? Oh, who's that? Who's there?
It's me, dear.
What do you want, Jean?
I want to talk. Let me in, dear, please.
Just a second.
Alec. Oh, I'm so glad to see you, dear.
I asked you, what do you want? Why did you come here?
Why? It's been almost a week now since you've been home. Have you any idea how worried I've been? You didn't even phone me after Sanders was killed.
I'm sorry. I just never thought of phoning her. I had other things on my mind.
How did it happen, Alec?
You read the verdict of the inquest. He probably fell asleep at the wheel waiting for me. The brakes slipped. The car rolled down the hill and crashed.
Poor Sanders. Somehow I can't help feeling...
Feeling what?
I don't know. Perhaps it's this horrible old house. Everything about it is just plain evil. Oh, Alec, why don't you give it all up?
Give what up?
This obsession of yours. You started writing your book, doing psychical research to prove that there were no such things as apparitions or ghosts.
Suppose I found out that I was wrong.
What?
Yes, what would you say if I told you that I'd already seen one apparition here, and that I was expecting to see another one?
Alec, oh, no.
Oh, yes, Jean. The first evening I came here, I saw Calhoun. I talked to him. He showed me around the house, and later on I discovered that he had died the day before. I waited for him to come back again, but he never did. And I finally realized why. He couldn't come back because he hadn't died here. He had died at the sanitarium. But now, I'm waiting for Sanders to come back.
Sanders? But he didn't die here either. He died?
Yes, Jean.
I don't like it here, Alec. I'm afraid. I'm going.
No, Jean. Don't go. You can help me.
Huh?
Come on in here. Into the parlor.
But Alec.
Come on, Jean. Later I'll tell you a very interesting story about this room, about something that happened here a long time ago.
But All right, Alec.
That's a good girl. You know, Jean, I've just realized I've been very stupid. Calhoun couldn't come back again because he didn't die here. Sanders did die here, but he wasn't buried here. And now I'm beginning to think that a spirit can only materialize in the place where its body is.
But what's that got to do with me?
Dear, does anyone know that you came here tonight?
Why, no, but...
Good.
What do you mean? And what are you doing with that cane?
You remember I said I was going to tell you a story about something that had happened here in this room? Well, this cane played an important part in it. You see, it's not just an ordinary cane. This is a sword cane. It's what Calhoun used when he killed his wife, right where you're standing.
Alec, you killed Sanders.
Exactly.
And now you're going to kill me.
Yes, dear. I am going to kill you. And I'm going to bury you right here, down in the cellar where Calhoun buried his wife. Then at least you will be able to come back. No, don't try and run away. It won't do any good. You see, I locked the door.
No. Keep away from me.
I'm sorry.
Keep away.
My
Help!
dear.
No!
Now, smooth up gravel a little. She's covered well. There. That ought to do it.
Very nice, Doctor. Very nice indeed. You didn't do quite as neat a job as I did, but you did pretty...
Calhoun.
Yes, Doctor.
You're dead. But you did come back.
Yes, I came back to tell you how grateful I am to you.
Grateful? For what?
For having, shall we say, relieved me. You see, there's a curse on this house. When I was alive and lived here, even before I killed my wife and Burroughs, I saw the ghosts of those who had died before I was born. It was they who made me kill, because once I did kill, they were free.
I don't understand.
Don't you? As long as this house stands, someone must haunt it. Until I died, it was haunted by those whom I had killed. When I died, it became my job. I thought it'd be years before I could find someone to take my place, and then you came along.
You mean...
Yes, Doctor, yes, the curse, the evil that was spawned here has been passed on to you. Now it's haunted by those whom you killed, and I am free and can rest in peace. But you must stay here and live with the evil you created until you die.
No, I won't stay.
Yes, you will, Doctor. Oh, I didn't believe it either. I thought I could leave whenever I wanted to, but I found that I couldn't. I had to stay until they took me away. When you try to leave, you'll find out why.
But I won't stay. I tell you, I won't. Neither you nor they can make me stay. Nothing can make me stay. No. Once more, you're right about this place. It is evil. But I'm not going to let that evil continue. It must be destroyed, along with every stick and stone in this house.
And just how do you propose to do that?
I'll show you. With fire. This can of kerosene.
Oh,
that pile of lumber there.
It won't do any good. Take my word for it.
No, you watch. There. The whole cellar, the whole house will go now.
Yes, Doctor, but you won't go.
I won't. You watch me.
But you can't go without me, Doc.
What?
Don't you remember? You carried me out to the car. You've got to take me with you.
Sanders.
Yes, Doctor, your chauffeur.
Let go of me, Sanders. Let go. I can't take you with me.
And you got to take me too, Allie.
No, Jane, no. Let go. Both of you.
You see, now you know why I couldn't go either. What dragged me back and weighed me down.
Please.
Now you know why you're going to have to stay here.
I won't stay. I tell you, I won't. Not even if I have to take both Sanders and Jean with me.
I'm afraid that won't do any good, Doctor. You see, the ladder isn't very strong.
No! It broke. It broke. I'm trapped here.
Goodbye, Doctor. If you don't mind, I'll leave you now for good.
No! Oh! Somebody!
The flames roar higher and higher as Dr. Goff screams and staggers backward. Far away, a bell starts tolling for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death stretches out his bony hand and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Dr. Goff was played by Barry Kroger. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This episode of the Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by Waddle's Tunes over at Channel Watch Waddle. Oh, that's where I left that bar of soap.
Hands are dirty, don't be a dope. Clean them up with bubbly soap.
Now that's some clean humor. The Baba Ghoulie Show is brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays.
we bring you The Witch's Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now, let us join old Nancy, witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat.
$103-year-old I be today. Yes, sir, 103-year-old. Satan. If these folks want to hear another of our pretty little bedtime stories, you just tell them to douse out them lights so's we'll have it nice and dark. Now draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into 'em deep, and soon you'll be down south with us in old Louisiana. It's strange country down there, ghost country. And outside a little railway depot there begins our yarn about Graveyard Mansion. Graveyard Mansion.
Good heavens, driver, we're strangers here, just got off that train. You can't expect us to walk a distance you say is 3 miles at this time of night. Or rather morning.
We'd be lost among your canebrake and bayous before we got halfway.
I'm powerful sorry, gentlemen, but I wouldn't drive you to the old Tate Gross plantation house at night for all the money in the New Orleans Mint. And neither will anyone else in these here parts.
Why not?
What's wrong with the Ted Gross place?
What you all want to go out there for?
Well, if it really makes any difference to you, we just inherited the plantation. We're down here to take possession.
Your name's Blanchard, then?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard your two brothers was expected. Your lawyers had men from Baton Rouge this past week fixing the house up. They was glad to get away this morning after only spending daytime there.
Say, will you please tell us exactly what you're driving at?
Just this. If you gentlemen are wise, you'll take the first train back up north and forget that Tate Gross place was ever left you. That old house ain't been lived in for nigh 100 years, for good reason. Folks here call it Graveyard Mansion, 'cause it's a house of the living dead.
What?
That's all I know, gentlemen. Good night.
Hey, come back here.
Wait a minute. Well,
I'll be doggone. Drove off and left us flat.
you didn't even want to stay and talk about the place, Kurt.
Lord, Al. It looks as though we've inherited a haunted house.
Our attorney never mentioned such thing in his letters.
Well, he's an educated man. You don't think he'd write us as such a crazy idea as that? Come on. We'd better start walking.
Walk? To Tate Gross tonight?
We haven't any choice. That chap is the only taxi man. There are no hotels in this little village. Let's go back to the depot. We'll get directions from the station master and see if we can buy a lantern.
All right. That chump said our new home is called Graveyard Mansion.
Yes, because it's the house of the living dead. Poor superstitious idiot.
Imagine believing in ghosts in this 20th century.
How can people be so dumb?
There's the marker they told us to look for, Kurt. The house must be just beyond those trees.
I hope it is. I'm tired.
Yeah, so am I. This hike has taken longer than we expected. Must be nearly dawn.
Yes. Louisiana is eerie country at night. Ghastly Spanish moss hanging from the trees seems to writhe like something living.
And those clouds of mist that rise from the bayous take strange shapes, half-human shapes. Sort of puts one in the mood to almost believe in ghosts.
What if we didn't have good sense? Wonder what it is these people fear about our new property. That old Creole who sold us the lantern was more insistent than the cab driver that we make no attempt to live in the place, without being any more explicit as to reason.
Yeah, he seemed either afraid or ashamed to make any real explanation. But like the other chap, he said it was a house of the living dead.
Well, that doesn't make sense even for a ghost story. Oh, it's just a lot of bunk.
Well, if the tales are in bunk, we'll soon find out. Look.
Huh. We've arrived.
Kind of a spooky-looking old place at that.
It's different than I pictured it. Sort of like a French chateau.
Our ancestor who built it was married to a Frenchwoman. She was probably responsible for its design.
Let's go in.
Wait, Kurt. Look there. Those tombstones.
Little burial ground. Maybe that's why they call the house Graveyard Mansion.
That's what I was thinking.
Come on.
Wait a minute. Does it seem to you there's something moving in the darkness beyond those tombstones? Something white?
Yes. Oh, some of that ghastly mist that rises from the bayous.
I suppose so. It looked almost like a woman.
Now, let's go inside the house and get some sleep before we become as goofy as the natives we've talked to. Hold this lantern while I find the keys that lawyer sent us.
His men didn't fix the place up very well. There's a broken window.
I see. Well, here we are. Phew. Black as a coal mine in here.
What was that?
Oh, bats! The place is full of them.
Oh!
Wish I could find a lamp. That lantern isn't much good.
No, its light doesn't seem to penetrate this darkness at all. It's almost an unnatural darkness.
Yes. It's funny. The ventilation from that broken window, it ought to smell sweet in here. There's an earthy odor about the place, like a tomb.
What's that?
Door slammed.
Curtis, down that hallway.
A woman! That laugh!
Well, she's no figure of the mist.
I'll soon find out who that is. Come on.
She's disappeared around the corner.
She went through that little door. Help me.
Yes.
Here it is. It's stuck.
Right.
I've got it.
It leads to the cellar. There she goes, down those stairs.
Hey, stop you. Who are you?
She doesn't even look around.
After her. Hold up that lantern, Alan.
The bats knocked it from my hand.
We're in the dark.
With her. That laugh again.
Hold on to your nerve. I've got matches.
Well, give me a light, for God's sake. Light.
Here.
Oh, thank God.
The lantern isn't broken.
Well, light it, quick.
I have it. Now we'll see what...
The woman's gone. The cellar's empty.
Where does she go to? This isn't a true cellar. It's just a little vault. There's no way out save by these stairs.
She couldn't have passed us. They're too narrow.
The vault is bare. No place in which to hide.
Curtis, what's that set up in the wall?
Why, it's... burial crypt.
A burial crypt? A tomb? That's where that woman hid.
Alan, hold on to yourself. Here, don't let your nerves go like that. Alan, our senses have been fooled. Those stories we heard, these ghastly myths we've seen have made us imagine things that can't be true. We haven't seen any woman. There's been no woman here to see.
But we heard her laugh.
Oh, we only thought we did. Our imaginations have played us tricks, I tell you. Alan! Alan!
You must be right.
Of course I'm right. It's the only explanation.
There's an inscription on that tomb. What does it say?
I'll see. It reads, "Here lies Antoinette de Morave, wife of Adrian Blanchard, born 1782, died 1804.
130 years ago. Antoinette de Morave. She's the woman this mansion was built for.
Yes, I remember her name now.
Come, let's get out of this cellar.
Wait. That's funny.
What?
It's cold as death down here, but this slab is warm. Feel it.
Yes. It's warm as life.
The rooster crowed. That means it's dawn.
Let's get out of this cellar where I can see the light of day.
Go ahead, I'll follow. Peculiar. Now this slab is growing cold. But, Alan, I've told you 1,000 times that everything we thought we saw and heard and felt last night was pure imagination. Why, that's simple common sense.
I know it is. And I've honestly agreed with you all day. But ever since the sun went down, I realize I'm acting like a baby, Kurt, but this place has got my goat.
You'll soon get over that. Cold shivers ran up and down my spine for hours after we came out of that infernal burial vault this morning. But now that I've had a little sleep, I feel honestly cheerful about our inheritance.
Why do you suppose that single tomb is in the cellar when there's a graveyard just outside?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Lord, I forgot to show you. Alan, look what I found in the attic.
A miniature portrait. What a beautiful woman.
Here, look at the back.
It's engraved. To Adrian from Antoinette.
Uh-huh. It's Our Lady of the Tomb. Wasn't she a knockout?
She must have been lovely.
Our great-great-uncle must have been mad about her. That's probably why she's buried away from the common herd. Poor thing. She was only 22 years old when she died.
A branch of the family still lives down here. Wonder if we have any female cousins who've inherited her good looks.
If we can find one, I'll bet you'll have no more objections to living in this house. Oh, you and I are going to be crazy about this place. Look out this window at that neglected land we're going to put in shape. Look at those great trees and that bayou shining in the moonlight.
And those old tombstones in the yard. It's nearly midnight when they say the dead return to life.
If you're going to start that again, I'm going to bed. Better turn in yourself. It is midnight.
Yes. Just midnight. Kurt, did you hear that door?
The wind must have slammed it shut.
It may be the door from that cellar.
Now stop that. You're not going to pieces on me again.
Kurt, look out this window. The woman whom we saw last night.
Good Lord. She won't get away from me this time.
Where are you going?
After her.
Wait, don't leave me. Wait, Kurt, don't go near her.
Let me go.
No.
Alan.
She's turning back.
She's coming toward us.
Run. She's something awful from the grave.
I won't believe that. Let me go.
That laugh.
Same we heard last night.
Run, I tell you, run. She's something risen from the dead.
Lord, help me. I believe you're right. Come on.
Run.
Wait.
She's calling to us.
Yeah, there's nothing dead about that voice.
Why do you gentlemen run away from me? Do you think I am a ghost, perhaps?
Look at her coming there. A healthy-looking flesh and blood girl.
She's laughing at us.
Can you blame her? Of all the dumb, benighted saps,
yes,
we are...
we certainly are. Curtis.
What's the matter now?
Look at her. She's the image of that miniature you found.
Joe. A living image of a woman who's been dead 100 years.
Gentlemen, if you permit, I take the liberty of introduce myself.
Satan, if these folks come see us next time old Nancy has a birthday, she'll tell them some more about graveyard mansions. The house of the living dead.
Witch's Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now, let us join old Nancy, witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat.
$110-year-old I be today. Yes, sir, 110-year-old. Satan. Old Nancy feels so good this evening. She's gonna get right down to business and cheer folks up. But spinning the finish of that comforting little yarn we begun last time they was here. Douse out them lights so's we'll have it dark and cozy. We told how them two young brothers from up north went down to Louisiana to claim a fine big mansion they'd inherited, which folks called the House of the Living Dead. But our brothers didn't pay no attention to that kind of talk till they got out to the place and seed a ghostly figure which seemed to disappear in a tomb down cellar, on which was the name of a French woman who'd been dead 100 years. Then, next night, they saw what appeared to be the same ghostly figure out on the grounds, and they was about to run away from it when they seed it was really a living, breathing girl. A living girl who was the image of the woman who was buried in that tomb. That's why we left off. Draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into 'em deep and hear the finish of our yarn about Graveyard Mansion. Graveyard Mansion.
Gentlemen acted so afraid. When you saw me coming toward you, you must think I am a ghost.
No words can express my humiliation for the childish way we acted.
We're terribly ashamed. But we'd heard so many weird tales about our new estate, and, well, we didn't think any living person would venture on these grounds at night.
I come often when the moon is full like this and wander here while others sleep. This place has been so long deserted. I have come to look upon it as my own. Oh, but now that you are here, I must not trespass any more.
Please don't feel that way about it.
I should say not. Look upon this place as still your own.
Thank you. Perhaps I shall. Now I must say au revoir.
May we see you home?
Oh, thank you very much, but I must go alone.
Before you go, may we know your name?
Oh, I had forgot. I am Miss Nettie Blanchard.
Blanchard?
Well, that's our name, too.
So, we are distant relatives, maybe. A good night.
We shall see you again?
You will see me again.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Isn't she a beauty?
Absolute knockout.
Kurt, let me see that miniature again of the Lady of the Tomb.
Here. The resemblance is startling, isn't it?
The girl who just left here might have sat for this portrait.
Alan. She said her name was Nettie.
That's a contraction of Antoinette. Antoinette was the name of the woman of this portrait. Coincidence, isn't it? Yes. Coincidence. Oh, come on. Let's go to bed.
Alan, wake up. Are you going to sleep all day?
Huh?
Well, it's morning. Time to rise and shine.
Oh, I was dreaming.
It must have been a pleasant dream. You certainly didn't want to snap out of it.
I dreamed that girl, the one we met last night, came into this room and kissed me.
Oh, that sounds nice. Get up. We have a lot of work to do.
Right away. Queer. I feel weak as a kitten.
Huh. You don't look any too good.
I have a funny pain.
Where?
Here. On my throat.
There's a little mark there. As though you'd been bitten.
Funny. That's where I dreamed she kissed me.
The house is just beyond that next turn in the road, Doctor. Turn your car to the left.
Another way. You say it is just a week since you noticed the first indication of your brother's illness?
Yes. I wouldn't have believed anyone could waste away so suddenly. He looks as though every drop of blood were being drained from his body.
You should have come for me sooner.
Oh, I wanted to. But he and Miss Blanchard insisted there was nothing really the matter with him.
This Miss Blanchard, a relative, of course.
A very distant one. We only met her since we came down here. She's with my brother now. When he recovers, they're going to be married.
They became engaged on very short acquaintance.
Yes. There's the house just ahead.
I know Graveyard Mansion very well. This strange mark you mentioned on your brother's throat, you say it have become more inflamed each day?
Yes. It's as though the fangs of some beast had entered there. The house was full of bats when we arrived, Doctor. I've heard of vampire bats. Do you suppose...
No, I do not believe your brother is the victim of a vampire bat. Here we are.
Oh, there's Miss Blanchard at the door. Nettie, is Alan all right? I brought the doctor.
The doctor come too late.
What do you mean? Not that Alan...
Your brother is dead.
No. No.
Graveyard Mansion. Graveyard Mansion.
Oh.
Come away from that window, son. There's no way for us to bring your brother back.
No. He's buried in that little graveyard now. But, Doctor, what killed him? What caused that awful mark upon his throat? What drained the blood from his body? What?
As yet, I only know it was nothing recognized by natural science. But science refuses to recognize many things it should endeavor to know and explain. But never mind that now. Your brother's fiancée, Miss Blanchard, she was not at the funeral this afternoon.
Because she couldn't bear to see him lying in his coffin. You heard her say last night...
Oui, I heard her excuse. You have never seen this girl except at night?
Why, no, but the reason is...
I have also heard her excuse for that. I thought I knew by sight every soul in this parish, yet I have never seen that girl until the night you brought me here.
Well, you don't mean to imply that she had anything to do with Alan's death?
I imply nothing. But it is midnight, in time for Miss Blanchard's promised call. I'm most anxious to improve her acquaintance.
I see her coming beyond those gravestones. Isn't she beautiful?
You love that woman.
Doctor.
You love her as your brother did.
Yes. While Alan lived, I denied it even to myself. But now Doctor, it's as though she's cast a spell upon me. She's so beautiful.
So like the miniature you showed me of a woman dead 100 years.
Why do you torture me with these awful questions? These frightful doubts? Why is she so like a woman dead 100 years? Why does she only appear at midnight? Why don't she tell me where she lives? Why?
Oh, Anita, she's almost at the door. We may find an answer to our questions. At the dawn!
I never see such a superstitious man of medicine, Dr. Brochard. The way you talk, you have me almost believe in ghosts.
I believe in ghosts, Mademoiselle Blachon, in ghosts and vampires.
Vampires, Doctor?
Such talk is foolish. No people now accept such things.
It was the thought is too fearful for men's mind to dwell upon, perhaps. Have you heard what vampires are, Miss Blanchard?
Oh, some other time you tell me. Curtis, I must be going now.
Mademoiselle will find the explanation very interesting. Vampires are those evil spirits, sometimes called the dead alive. It is said they rise from their graves at midnight, clothed in human flesh, kept whole by blood drained from living bodies.
Very interesting, but I must be going.
But you have not heard yet all. At midnight, the vampire can rise, mademoiselle, but it must return to its grave at dawn.
Yes, but I must be leaving now.
Of course, it is very late, or rather early. Dawn is here.
Doctor, what are you driving at?
Even vampires, my boy, and dangers of the darkness. Since Miss Blanchard will not permit you or me to see her home, I suggest you wait with us till daylight come for her protection.
You keep me here with talk. I must be home.
But a few minutes can make very little difference, and dawn is nearly here.
Move from that door and let me pass.
You are as anxious to reach your home as the vampire is to reach his tomb.
Doctor. You are insulting.
No, I am accusing.
Dr. Broussard!
Accusing the fiend who killed your brother, accusing the evil soul of Graveyard Mansion.
Stand from that door and let me pass.
No!
Let me pass,
I do not
say.
hear you. Dawn is coming light. The robs fiends of the power darkness lends them. Look, the first streaks of dawn shine in the sky.
No, let me pass!
Doctor, you're mad. Stand aside and let her go.
No, if she's normal woman, not of the vile undead. Let her remain within this room 1 minute more.
I cannot. I am late.
Nevi! She's turned around. Ran the other way.
After her.
She's going to the cellar.
I know she would. Quick, and you will see the truth. Dawn! She's gone home.
I won't believe.
You shall have proof.
What are you going to do?
Open the tomb of Antoinette, who has been dead 100 years.
This is sacrilege. We have no right to violate a tomb. The dead
deserve no mercy from either God or man.
Such things as vampires can't exist.
Well, I finished my labor. Help me lift this coffin lid, as you shall see.
Oh, I must have proof. Antoinette Blanchard has been dead 100 years. We shall find nothing but dust.
Help me lift the lid.
The girl I love can't be in that coffin.
Help me lift the lid.
I will.
Regard. There is your proof. Yes, of tonight and of 100 years ago, the same, preserved in evil life by the blood of your brother and of others. So has this house gained its name of Graveyard Mansion. But there is a way to end the vampire. This sharpened wooden stake. Above her undead art I place it, and I drive it home.
She screamed. Body has crumbled into dust before my eyes.
The vampire is no more. The living dead is dead forever.
She's gone. She and my brother. All that I loved.
But the world has lost the scourge. And now Graveyard Mansion is nothing but a name.
Well, that's the end of that, Satan. You folks come see old Nancy next time she has a birthday.
Bye.